Well, it's that time again, and there you are with your gorgeous face as always, sir. Welcome to another Toy Box Chronicles. I'm your lovely, gorgeous host, and being outdone by my friend, Mr. Storm. How are you doing tonight?
Doing all right, brother. And I need to hire you as my agent, man. I need to get rid of the guy I got now, man, because you just represent me so well, my friend. Happy toy evening to you, brother. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm good, man. We got a lot going on today,
yes,
which is fantastic for everybody watching. It's like a free show, so we don't want any bitching, and we want subscriptions and likes and comments and chats happening. But today, let's just go straight into it. We got a lot happening. We got to figure out who's better: G.I.Joe, Star Wars, Black Series, or Marvel Legends. We're not sure, but that's what discussion is about to prove everyone wrong. Also, there was a leak with Hasbro, so that's weird. So sit back. Well, I think we should start off by some information that you have about our special guest tonight, sir.
I know. And you know what? This is one we were going to do a roundtable tonight, and we had to get the best of the best, especially like, one, we had to have Rad in from Pixel Plastic Inc.
No, there is.
Definitely. Because if you look at his background, you know why he's here.
Yeah.
What DC. I didn't get the gorgeous Rad. What the hell is going on, man?
He's introducing you.
Jeez.
And
all right.
The gorgeous, the photomatic Rad.
Thank you. All right, I appreciate it. I don't know how you all think I'm a Marvel collector. I don't know what would that give you that idea.
I know you have a lot of McFarlane in the background.
Yeah. But I'm excited to be be here.
Your other nickname has to be Chris Legends, brother. So when you get that,
Yeah, I like that. She sounds like my pro wrestling name, Chris Legends.
I'm sure it is, brother. And if we're going to introduce, number one, our podcast brothers, and I'm telling you, the most knowledgeable people that have anything about Star Wars. So we've got to think where their loyalties lie tonight, technically, is my man, Darth Moocher. And Scott Solo from the Sarlacc Digest Podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. It's good to see you again. Star Wars. So
yeah, I'm excited. It sounds like you got an upgrade on your mic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I turned it on this time. Oh man,
that's pretty sweet.
And
so I am professional.
Yeah, well, hey man, we'll take you mic on, mic off, as long as you're here, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Scott, how you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, nerds? How's it going? I'm doing really well. It's hotter than hell out here, and looking forward to getting into some toy talk.
Yeah. I feel you, brother. It's hot so much here that I got to get my soul right because I can't take eternity of this burning.
Yeah.
And as always, when we look at the chat, who do we have? And our man Meeks. Meeks, what's going on, brother? And he says, full house and everything else like that.
Yes.
Meeks. It's a full house tonight. We got the best house and everything. Chet, where we're going to roll it off on, because now, again, we have the two Star Wars aficionados here.
Yeah,
we've got Chris Legends, aka Rad, and I guess I'm the only one representing Joe tonight, bro.
Yeah,
do you think?
Yeah,
I don't even know what I'm representing. I'm like, I'm just here for the fucking popcorn.
Chet's representing 1989 Kenner. That's it.
Yeah,
that line.
And now we're talking my.
Let's get into it. I do actually have a bunch of Kenner old Star Wars figures that I have no idea what to do with. So
Hey,
they're plastic bags.
We're always looking to buy some if you need.
That's
to.
my primary
It's like
collection,
two
man.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got, Chet? I mean, go.
Yeah.
I mean, I got some C-3POs. I think I have some R2-D2s. I have a Han Big Head.
I actually do need a Han Big Head.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
We'll talk.
So I think what's going to happen is, while I do believe, you guys do everyone kind of leans into their own here. At the end of the day, as plastic lovers, we all can appreciate almost anything that comes out, with the exception of some. But I think the reason why this is important in terms of like toy of the year is because if you think about it, the top 3 lines that are collected are Star Wars, G.I. Joe, and Marvel Legends. And you can argue on each side of every one of those as to what's been collected longer. If you went off of years, we know who would win that one. But I think it's just a discussion, and we could go around and talk about where the influences come from. What I like to talk about when we're comparing toy lines is who's influencing who based on what their audience wants. And I'm going to start it off by saying I do think the old school Star Wars Kenner figures had a lot of influence into modern day action figures. And I know G.I. Joe has been around for a long time, but G.I. Joe also was around as like a bigger figure to compete with Barbie doll wise. So I think where Kenner stepped in, and it bums me out that Hasbro bought Kenner and just doesn't really do anything with it. But yeah, I think we start there. Like, how influential do you think that the Kenner lines were back in the day for current day?
You just want to
Can I just say, I'm just going to go on record here because you said G.I. Joe, Marvel Legends, and Star Wars.
Yeah.
We do go to conventions, and I don't want to be attacked. Transformers fans, we're sorry we left you out, but I don't want to get stabbed by a cosplay Optimus Prime. So I just want to let you know we haven't forgot about you. But
you're right.
It's the 3. But diehards in the Transformers realm. So we hear you.
Let's also clarify too, like Mafex could be in this, but we're talking about stuff that's like budget friendly for almost anybody.
The mass collections.
Yeah.
The ones that can fill an entire room, all 3 lines.
Yeah, it's not budget friendly.
I'm gonna let the Star Wars guys talk because this is the wheelhouse here. Like I was a big fan of Kenner, but obviously Marvel wise, I lean more towards the Toy Biz stuff.
Yeah, so as far as like Kenner wise, if you got to look at like who started it all, I mean Kenner, the concept of a 3 3/4 when a guy went make it this big and they measured that and it was 3 3/4 and that made it the standard throughout. Like G.I. Joe came in with their boy line, to compete, but basically blueprinted right off of Star Wars, just like so. I know I'm going to be biased with Star Wars, but again, I am a G.I. Joe collector. I'm a collector of toys in general, but you always have to give that hats off of like what line really launched the action figure craze from back in the day. I
mean, in that case, it's G.I. Joe because G.I. Joe was the first official quote unquote action figure whenever they released the 6-inch line. Yeah, the 12-inch line, right. But
those were dolls, by the way. But anyway.
Oh no, those were action figures. Action figures.
Sorry.
My dolls are cooler than Barbie. So but no, whenever it came to actually making 3 3/4 inch, absolutely. Because we also had Mego in between, right? With their what's the scale of Mego? I had them because I'm old enough to remember a time before Star Wars, right? Megos were 8
5 or 6 or maybe bigger. Oh, the bigger Megos,
they were probably about maybe 7, 8, somewhere around there. I know they were smaller than Joe, so
yes, they were smaller than Joe's, and they were the in between before 8-inch.
Okay, there you go.
Before Star Wars came out with the 3 3/4 inch line, I remember one of my first Christmases getting that Spider-Man figure, and that was my line. And then whenever Star Wars debuted, I remember being in like Sears, and Sears was the go-to. You walk in and there's a line of these little. I remember my first figure was Greedo, and that just set me off on this journey that I have, 48 years later, I'm still collecting. So, but yeah, I think as far as influential, definitely Star Wars. They kicked it off at the 3 3/4 inch. They were willing to take that gamble and make that. Make the line smaller so you could actually world build and you could have vehicles that were more intricate and play sets. And because I had the Mego Batcave, Wayne Manor Batcave that stood like this freaking tall. That thing was
so big.
Yeah, it was right. And could you imagine trying to get something like that nowadays?
Yeah,
they'd have to HasLab it.
Yeah, it's the whole concept of concept or competition breeds innovation. So when you had, like I said, Star Wars kicking off, but then all these other companies, like you said, Mattel got into the mix, and it just kind of was like because of one thing, because of one IP branch, the thing that we all collect today. I mean,
What's interesting to me about G.I. Joe versus Star Wars is like Star Wars had the movie vehicle that. Like that generated the buzz for the sales, and the figures
100%.
were cool, the card backs were cool, but the movie kick-started the collectability. G.I. Joe didn't have like the cartoon came later in the 80s, but like that wasn't as massive at any scale like the Star Wars films. Yet G.I. Joe was so collectible. Like I remember when I was a kid, G.I. Joe was so popular. People watched the cartoon, but not at the magnitude, in my opinion, that Jedi and all these but yet for some reason that was like the thing that everybody that I knew around the neighborhood collected. G.I. Joes were like the biggest thing.
Yeah, they had the comic book though, right? Larry Hama's comic book came out, and they would do the animated crossover comic book / action figure ads on TV, right? To build up that excitement. And I remember again walking through Sears and seeing G.I. Joe and not knowing what this was, but coming from a military family, my grandma was like, "You want those?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." And so, here I've got that started that off. But it was the minute I got that figure in my hand, I wanted to know more because there was that story on the back, right? Yeah. You had the dossier on the back that told that told you all about Stalker and Snake Eyes. Who is this guy with no name, right? And then it's like, oh, there's a comic book, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
I will agree with you. I think that the lore was due to, you have to give Ken its credit, because G.I. Joe, while it was, I remember my uncles handed me down their 12-inch Joes, and so I had already was familiar with G.I. Joe. But like the vehicles and everything, I think if you don't have technically Star Wars and the innovation of like vehicles and lines and everything, you don't have G.I. Joe. So each were hand in hand. And if you ever went into a Toys R Us, which I know we all have, I think some of us a little older than the others to walk into like, a 70s version of Toys R Us. But but both of those lines were well represented. Like there was an aisle for Joe's, there was an aisle for Star Wars, and they were both competing for that shelf space. Yeah. And I think it was like a couple of years later, it became another aisle for Masters of the Universe and everything. But whenever I think of Joe's, it's like it's pure because it was the first line that I went to and I saw myself in that line. And it's the same way with Star Wars. The first time, I see Billy D. Williams cross the screen, it's like, wow, they took Colt 45 and put him up. Star Wars. I was like, I couldn't believe they did that. It was like everybody that I knew was like, oh man, we're seeing that Empire Strikes Back, brother. So that's the appeal of both of those lines. They're magic. Every time I see I'm in, like, we all went to Robo Toy Fest. I'm looking at those old 3 3/4 Joes. It puts a smile on my face when I see an X-Wing somewhere. You're like, they can't reduplicate that magic. No, when you walk down those aisles. And I know they keep trying to do it, but they just can't do it.
Yeah. We keep buying.
They don't have the dedicated aisles anymore, right? I mean, you don't have aisle 7C in Toys R Us. It was always aisle 7C. Man, that was the one you made a beeline for.
Straight back there, yeah.
Yeah,
now it's just a bunch of peg hooks with like maybe a figure draping from it. Like you can't even. I mean, it's not. I go to Target or Walmart. It's the Marvel section, the Star Wars, is pretty bare bones.
It's depressing. It's a depressing state.
Yes.
But this always happens this time of year, though, right? I mean, we're starting to see the resets for Christmas. We're gonna get inundated with figures that nobody wants and play sets that nobody wants. Are all geared towards little ones, right? But this is always the drought before the big Christmas resets.
Calm before the storm, right.
Yeah.
They're getting in. Well, like I said again, I know the main focal point of the show is the verses, and there's a little bit of verses. One thing that we did come up with today, that we came up with a grading system for the lines. Ooh. So we're gonna go by best sculpts. Who's doing the best sculpts at it? Are the characters looking like, if it's a movie or it's a version of a comic book or something, are they representing those best in the sculpts? The next one's best characters. Who is putting out the characters that fans want? Because some of these lines ignore that and just put out some characters that we really don't want to purchase. That's why Ross and Ollie's
over and over and over.
I feel attacked. Yeah.
Wait, can I get clarification? Are we talking like now, like this year, right? We're
this year.
We're talking current.
Cool.
Current.
Yeah. Current.
Okay. I got to get out of the Kenner. My mind is removed from Kenner, and we're
right. 2024 figures.
We've got number 3 is who has the best HasLab, or if their HasLab hasn't come out, the potential of having the best HasLab.
Right.
The ease to find at retailers. I think that's going to be probably a dead end one right there. And the last one, the potential for the remainder of the year. Which line will accelerate as the year goes on? Because we haven't seen everything, all the tricks from them.
Right.
So we're going to run that down. But if we have to go around, and we'll just do a standard round. We'll start with our Star Wars brothers and go right back up to us. But who had, in your opinion, the best sculpts of the year from which line?
I see. It's I'll try to make it quick. I'm trying to make it quick. The reason I'm not going to give Star Wars the edge because I like it is I'm giving them the edge because it's based off real people. And everything I think that's harder than a comic book rendition of something or a modern version like G.I.Joe Classified takes a modern look at the sculpt. So they basically have free palette on G.I. Joe as long as they get it close, right?
Yeah.
Not Falcon. But as long as they get it close. Same thing with Marvel, what they're not doing the MCU, right? The MCU again, that's the scanning resolutions, but they're doing a great job on the comic books. But I think as far as I have to give credit where credit's due, I will say that the Star Wars Hasbro team, they have a harder job, and 99% they nail it. Like to me, it's almost like a mini person on your shelf at times. So as far as sculpting, I have to give that edge because of the difficulty, if that makes sense. If they even have to,
And not only that, they still do though have some areas, some characters where they have a hard time with, right?
They do,
but still, Luke. I'm looking at a Luke right now, thinking, that mofo needs updating big time. It used to be Leia, right? Now they're kind of
getting better.
But Star Wars, I have to agree as far as sculpt goes, Star Wars does take that.
Okay. Rad?
Yeah, I mean, being a Marvel guy, I think all of that, what Darth said resonates with me. I think it is much harder. I mean, I collect outside of the Hasbro line Marvel stuff, so I have genuine appreciation for like some of the higher end premium figures and how detailed these things can be. And I think if we were talking about like sometimes the multiple heads that you get with figures, that's a different story. But in terms of just the overall sculpt,
right,
I think they're hit and miss with the Marvel line. Some are just like, ooh, wow, and that's the reason why there's so much kit bashing is like, I'm going to take this badass cap head and put it on this body. But I think there's, even with the new stuff that's come out, I'm like, I wish, it could have been a different head sculpt here. I mean, the new cap line, the new cap that came out, I'm like, just this this grimace on his face. It just is awkward to have that all the time. So as much as it pains me to say, being a Marvel guy, I definitely give the nod here to Star Wars.
Chet?
Yeah. So, not going to beat around the bush. I agree. However, I am going to point out that G.I. Joe, when it comes to sculpts, has done an amazing job with Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that when they really want to see and I think the only reason why they did such an amazing job with Sergeant Slaughter, because it's like, how can you produce Sergeant Slaughter but then the rest of your sculpts aren't as good? And it's because like Sergeant Slaughter is a living human being and you can't get it wrong.
Right. There's a reference right there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and if you get it wrong, he comes and knocks on your door and is like, what the
yeah.
So, but I think like I'm with Rad here. Like I've been a little bit disappointed in the sculpts that are coming out that are supposed to be reference points to MCU. But there's some, there's a Doctor Strange figure that's come out that's just like, what did you do to the face? So I think like, yeah, I mean, you look at Star Wars figures, no matter where you see them on the peg hook or whatever, you're like, yeah, that literally is the actor. Like it's literally the actor. You don't have to do it. But I think a lot of that has to do with like, do they have access to all the 3D rendering equipment and everything that they have for Star Wars movies to help make that work?
Yeah, they have it's the real scan version. That's right. Every actor signs that contract. They sit in a booth and they get scanned and it's archived.
Yeah. So I don't think not necessarily. I'm sure Hasbro could get in there and rent that, but also probably not because they want to keep it to themselves. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Star Wars on the sculpts.
Yeah, I will agree with this. Also, I'll agree with Chet on the one aspect is that, look, Sergeant Slaughter was like one of those characters. I remember as a kid, I mailed in for it. And when I absolutely saw that he was like, first I saw Bobby Valle's Action Force version, and I thought that was good. It didn't have a realistic look of it, but it was like, you knew it was Sergeant Slaughter. It was more cartoony a little bit. And then I saw, they're bringing that. I said, I don't give a damn how much money that is. I'm paying for that, because like, Sarge has to be in the shelf. So that one they nailed. But I have been extremely satisfied whenever I see any of the Star Wars Black Series figures, because it's like, wow, it took a lot to detail and get the face scans and all these others. And I think it's the reason because Disney's not going to allow crap to be put out most of the time. Hasbro owns G.I. Joe. So when a Falcon is released, they're like, well, we own the character. It's like, live with it. But, I don't think that's going to fly right. And I think Chet's absolutely right with Sergeant Slaughter. There's no damn way in the world that was going to look as it was going to look like the Bobby Vallis version.
It was going to Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, he was going to make sure that came out right. So I think this first category, yes, Star Wars Black definitely has the advantage in it. So it leaves us with category 2, which now this one is clear across the line. I'm gonna let Rad start off this one. Who's the best characters, brother? Who has which line had the best characters?
I mean, that's a tough one. It probably boils down to like the fandom, right? Because I think that Marvel has done a really great job in like releasing some of the obviously popular figures, and then obviously some of the figures that you were they just we're seeing a new Odin figure, right? Like a comic accurate one. We're seeing some random figures scattered in there. Kazar is coming out to match with your Sauron Build-A-Figure. So I think there's a good eclectic mix of legends that have recently come out, but I will say one of the advantages of the Marvel line has been the X-Men 97 line that has come out that is just skyrocketed in price. I mean, like the resale value is nuts. And I think, aside from the card backs, though, the popularity of that series
that's what helps.
Returned.
100%.
Like those figures are awesome, and I think you bring those characters back from the old 90s cartoon. The kids are now watching it. So I think if we're evaluating the entire line, I could pick and choose things that they did right now. They got some of the vintage card backs, although that was kind of more last year. But I think the X-Men 97 line has proven that Marvel did it right. And that character assortment, I can't wait for Wave 2 next year. They really nailed it. And it just speaks to the demand in the market. I mean, some of these figures are going for $125. Yeah. You can't get a Rogue for less than 125 on third party. So that should just tell you figures, that's what people wanted. And they delivered. So I'll go with Marvel on this one.
All right, Chet.
So the thing that throws me off here is likeness, right? So if we're doing best characters and best character likeness and accessories, I don't know. I struggle. This is between. So I love Marvel Legends. I do. I think they're fantastic. They don't necessarily hit this category for me. Where this category I'm struggling with is between G.I. Joe and Star Wars. G.I. Joe, from a likeness perspective, I think they nail all of their comic or cartoon likenesses. I think they do a very good job. And we could or could not get into which line has more vehicles. But I think from an accessory standpoint, it's really, really hard to beat G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe for me is just when I think about, like, if I want to be involved in, like, all in on something current state that has the options to buy, then G.I. Joe is going to be the one that I would lean towards in terms of likeness and accessories, because you can run out of money before you even get close to having everything on the G.I. Joe. Like, you could literally run out. Now, you could, this is current year, so obviously I'm not talking about like Star Wars vintage and stuff like that, but for current year, like Marvel, where Marvel I think is missing it is that the things outside of the figures, like, the accessories. Because if you look at Ghost Rider, when they sell them with the motorcycle, you can't find it. It's gone. Like, people buy it, you can't get it. Everyone wants it. You buy the figure for $60. You can resell it for like $180, $200 just because people want it. So they're not listening to the fact that people want, accessories for their figures. It's like a Ramen Racer I have in the background, and I have it with Ghost Rider, and it's probably my favorite piece that I own, and it's not even made by them. So this number two is actually going to go to G.I. Joe for me.
Yeah. I will have interesting points, Chet. I will give you credit. And it actually swayed it. Character-wise, I think Marvel's done a really good job this year, because, again, it's like, this is the first year I have bought this many Marvel Legends ever. Same. And it's due to the, Iron Fist and Luke Cage. It's the Ghost Rider. It's the Brother Voodoo. It's the, it's Dracula. It's all, there's so many great characters that are obscure that they find. And it's Danny Ketch's Ghost Rider too. So that works out. But you're right. And when it comes to the accessories scenario, G.I. Joe kills it. Look, there's like, one, it's bang for your buck every damn time I turn around. It's not the Vamp Jeep, it's the Ferret. If it's like, it's the His Tank, it was the, they've got like, 2 versions of the Ram Sight, well, 3 versions, the Knife Force version, the Tiger Force version, the standard version. Like, if you've got characters, they've got stuff for it. Yeah. I think when it came to accessories too, and I don't have it in hand, but just seeing Doc with the stretcher was like, okay, like, this was imaginative. This is world building. They've done a great job. I love the Black series as well, but when it comes to accessories, I think we've only really had the Snow Speeder, and I don't see them doing a lot. They do a lot of the vintage stuff, but not for the Black series. So G.I. Joe for me, G.I. Joe for me is killing it when it comes to accessories. Look, shit, I'm waiting for the Dragonfly to show up. Yeah, it's like, wow, and then whatever this HasLab's money's already spent.
Already earmarked. Yep.
You're right. So, we'll start off with Scott down below.
G.I. Joe, absolutely, 100%, no questions asked. I mean, just in character selection alone, you've got Duke, Scarlet, Metalhead, Firefly, Shipwreck, Quick Kick, Big Boa. All of these figures came out, as well as the Hiss Tank that I'm looking at right here. You've got, just looking up at all the figures that came out this year alone. I mean, you've got all the Dreadnoks, freaking Torch, man. Torch came out. That Torch figure is number one. Darth Moocher's Torch figure. God
that's
damn
mine.
I wish this was mine.
Yeah.
No, I'm keeping it. But the absolute the as far as sculpt goes, accessories, vehicles, you name it, G.I. Joe takes it hands down, no questions asked. And I don't really have a frame of reference for X-Men. I think I've got 3 X-Men figures in my entire collection, so I can't, but G.I. Joe for me, that's it. Yeah.
Darth?
Yeah. Rad makes an amazing point with the X-Men 97, because if you have a good product behind those figures, like what they can base it off of, then you've got a hit. That's what put on this year, I think, is what put Marvel Legends on the map for 2024 was that IP, was that product. But is when it comes to character selections and stuff like that, G.I. Joe Classified, the way they are marketing and the way they are doing these characters, every time they do an unveiling, it's a fist pump. Like every single character, from the renderings to whatever they are, they're like, thank you, oh my god. It's like, I haven't really asked for, like, oh, they should do this, they should, because it's all coming, right? And they're showing us it's all coming. And I think
it's without the benefit. It's without the benefit of a cartoon, or
they have nothing.
Book. I mean, there is a comic book.
There is
comic. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, right? As far as
there isn't a vehicle. It's literally, that's what's mind blowing. Is it?
Yeah.
There isn't really much, and who's reading comic books, right?
Right. And the way I think the point where they're so successful is because they did the 180 on the line. They're like, this is G.I. Joe, and everybody's like, cool, but this sucks. We're still buying it. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're like, fine, we'll give you exactly what you guys are asking for. Here's a modern take, and we have the retro version of it, which pulls on all our heartstrings, because that's our childhood 6-inch version. And they keep going with it. And the fact that they are announcing more and they're promising more, that that tidal wave, they're riding it. And so I have to give it to Classified, Marvel Legends right behind it, and Star Wars way down as far as their selection this year. I don't even think Star Wars would. Yeah,
unless you just want clones. If you want clones,
then we got
the line for you.
Yeah.
I got a question off topic, just on the Star Wars stuff, because what I've noticed is, like, that Balin figure came out just recently, but
there wasn't that one before that. Yeah,
was there one before that?
Yeah,
no.
In the black,
you're talking about the one that's already out in hand.
Yes.
Yeah. When
did that come out?
That came out this year, and now they're re-releasing it again. But this time,
and it's a exclusive Target.
Was that timed with Ahsoka? That? So
it
came
was.
Out right. Okay, got it.
The original release was
this year they've done a really good job at making sure we've got figures in hand before while the show's running.
Yeah, it's not a year after.
Because
like Hasbro's been doing a pretty good job on the Marvel front of that too. So
good. Yeah, I've already got Acolyte figures, and I don't know if I want them, but I got them. So hey,
they're there.
Yeah,
they can go on your bottom shelf.
Yeah, they go in the behind the way back shelf right now.
If you need, like, if your USS flag's kind of leaning, just use one of those.
Prop them up.
Kind of prop it up.
I'm missing a couple of deck clips. I could just kind of
melt them down and make your own deck clips.
Yeah,
there you go.
All right, so I think we're all kind of leaning towards Joe minus Rad. So I'm sorry, Rad.
No, look, don't worry.
But he said it's close, so it's
it's
no
close.
For me, Joe. Yeah. There's no question. I mean, like
X-Men 90, the X-Men 97 line.
Really,
I have a feeling. Yeah, I have a feeling that the X-Men 97 line next round will introduce vehicles. I think it's going to. It's got to. It's got to.
They don't do a great job in vehicle assortment, so we'll see.
They know. Yeah.
I still got my Magneto from '94 Toy Biz, like the Magnetron. So it's been a while since we've seen it, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll run number 3, HasLab releases or the potential. The reason why we get potential, because this year the HasLabs were all pushed off due to the whole May the 4th kind of scenario. So a lot of stuff we would have seen already. We would have already seen and been over with the campaign for the Cantina. We would have been over with the campaign for whatever it was going to be for Yojo June.
Yeah.
And then I think probably San Diego would have been some Marvel Legends HasLab that probably would have popped up. But out of the 3 this year, and I'm already going to say that they teased the image. We're going to talk about that a little later for the HasLab that's coming on the 25th. So they've already kind of gave us, but they did a Cobra Commander. Everybody's talking. The chatter is going to be a Rattler. If it's the Rattler, it's the right move.
Yeah, it's if you look symbol. At the symbol in the Cobra, it's the bat winged Cobra symbol.
Yeah,
which is either the Rattler or it's the Fire Bat. It's one of the two.
Mm-hmm. So I've got and I think the Fire Bat's just too small. If it's a HasLab, you could actually mainline release the Fire Bat.
Yes,
but the Rattler, no. That's the Dragonfly was huge. Well, damn, I can only imagine what the Rattler's going to be. But compared to all 3 of the lines, Marvel Legends, we've had a running theory that it's probably going to be Fing Fang Fu.
Oh wow! Okay.
Done it. Yeah, they're gonna. We think it's going to be like continuation of the Giant Man, and they're going to keep doing bigger figures. So Fing kind of falls in, So that's our point. But out of the 3 potential, well, 1 actually we know, the 2 other potentials. Who you think is probably going to have the killer HasLab? Now, I will tell you this: tiers do go far into this, so it's got to be the ones. Also, if you think the tiers are going to clear, and I'm just going to be tad bit unbiased at this, the HasLab G.I. Joe will hit all 4 tiers.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
But what do you guys feel? Let's go with our guys because I know we've got to get them out of here soon. So,
no worries.
Scott, Darth, which one you guys feel?
So are we talking? Are we talking the ones that are just announced now, or are we talking? We're not talking like the ghosts or any of that.
Yeah,
right?
We're not going to go into the previous ones. We're going to talk about the current ones of this year.
As somebody who will only from this point on back vintage collection Star Wars, I even have to admit that the Rattler is going to kick its ass. It's as much as I would love to collect it, I don't have room for it. I will go play with Darth Moocher's Rattler.
Right behind you. Look at all that space behind you. I mean,
I can literally touch the wall right here.
Hey, it goes space
behind me. Okay, no, I'm touching my cabinet right here.
There's no way.
I'm not doing it. All right, but as much as I can't wait to get the Cantina, the Rattler's totally going to waste it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Man, if once you said Fing Fang Foom for Marvel Legends, if that is a thing, that's going to be awesome. And I think that was going to fund, and it will fund with all the tiers. I think with the Marvel Legends, just stick to characters, big blowing up characters. Obviously, the Ghost Rider didn't work, right? And there you have it. You have
we have the Ramen Racer.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody will do it. Just like, and Star Wars Black Series is batting a 0, so I don't know what's in store for there, but I think it's only vehicles for Star Wars. But I'm going to give the hands down winner to, of course, Classified, because again, the wave that they're riding, a Rattler with all the tiers. I think I put it in our chat, Scott, today, was like, I think in 24 hours a Rattler will fund, and in 3 days all the tiers. That's my prediction on that.
I absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you this. There was a Star Wars Black Series HasLab that was done. It's just that they didn't have the balls to put it out, but the Tashi Station did. So, if they were making that, then it would be all 3 for 3 this year.
That's awesome.
But I will go. Yeah, if it's a Rattler, it's automatic. Look, again, it was like, again, it's before the year started, I knew I was purchasing what it was going to be. But Fing Fang Fu, that will be my first HasLab.
But don't
for Marvel.
Don't sleep on the Marvel coming with the vehicle. I'm just saying. I know everyone's talking Fing Fang Foom. There's rumors. We haven't seen one. I know there's talks Quinjet. I wouldn't be surprised
wow.
if they change things up, because
Do you
pretty
think,
soon you're going to
that
run
would
out
sell
of big
more?
figures.
Yeah, you will. You will.
No,
Do
I
you
mean,
will?
if you do Fing, it's
Yeah.
gonna fun because it's the legendary build a figure. We haven't seen
Yeah.
Fing Fan Foom since the old Marvel Legends, like
Yeah.
She-Hulk wave, like so.
Mhm.
All the diehard Marvel fans, and plus
Yeah.
it just will look badass on a shelf. You see it in
Yeah.
Chet's background. Just imagine that thing like 3 times the size.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's-
saying.
It's
and
fun
that
to-
might be
even
a,
if you're not a Marvel fan, it's like a dragon in the freaking
Yeah.
back. Like, come on.
and that might be a for sure thing for them to like. We're gonna make money out of this, and then
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
the next one we can take a shot or challenge, right? It's
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm for sure. But I think G.I. Joe, obviously, like, I'm not a G.I. Joe collector, but hell, like that, it'll be hard to resist dipping into
Yeah.
that, man, and having
especially
that
with the
display on
tiers
itself.
they could do on that. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a clear cut winner for me here. And I know we're talking Black Series, but like the vintage, like the Cantina, like regardless of how you felt about it, it did end up funding not all the tiers. But
Right.
has there ever been in the history of HasLabs more buzz surrounding good and bad than that damn Cantina was?
Yeah. Very
All the message
controversial.
boards,
Right.
videos, the
Yeah.
hate, the
yeah.
love.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
hey,
we
good
did
PR, right? Bad PR is good PR, and
Yeah.
they got it.
we did 4 videos of it on our channel.
Yeah.
On the Cantina from rumor to the final day. And those had the biggest numbers of any of
Yeah.
our shows because
Yeah.
people wanted to talk about it. And
Good and bad. Right.
I backed 2 of them. So, and that
Okay.
is again why I will not be buying a Rattler is
Yeah,
because
I
I
did it.
backed 2 of those damn things.
Oh, boy, to understand that American Express card payments coming.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the bucks right there. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Chet,
Yeah.
what do you believe, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I think HasLabs hold a special place. I think you can see the battle that happens between G.I. Joe and Legends, and like they started really hitting it with the vintage and Star Wars. In terms of like release and potential down the line, if it is the Rattler, 2 days max. I think three
Wow.
if people are asleep when it comes out. 2 2 will be funded by the end of the week. You'll be into like the second tier. By the end of the following week, it'll be just throw money at it.
Yeah.
But I think that they're running short on things for G.I. Joe. I really do. In terms of like HasLab potentials, I know that they could get it. I know that they could get into like more vehicles and play sets and things like that. Sure, not a problem. But the people that are sitting and waiting back for Marvel Legends HasLabs, I think is a silent army, because there's always a lot of buzz around like Fin Fang Foom. I've talked about it in one of our previous shows how if they just keep going with like they had Galactus. Now they could do like Ashram. They could get into like even bigger Celestials. And then also, like Rad said, they haven't done a vehicle yet. And I think if they did a Quinjet, or I mean, they couldn't do a helicarrier. If they did that, it would be
No.
There are some limitations, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But who knows? If they did a Quinjet, I think that would sell just as fast as a Rattler.
Sure.
I don't know. I think potential wise, you also could do a lot of really cool shit with vintage Star Wars. So for right now, I'm gonna lean on Joe just because it's gonna be chaos. when this is. I mean, people already have figured out what it is based off of the image. So
right.
All right. Well, number 4, we have ease to find at retailers. We're going to skip that because we damn straight know that that's impossible.
Yeah.
You're not walking into Target and Walmart.
It's a crapshoot on all 3, really.
Yeah, all 3 of them are done terribly whenever I go to the store.
I disagree, man. I can go to Target right now and pick up G.I. Joes. I've got a Big Boa, a Quick Kick, a Rakondo, and a Duke sitting in my Target right now.
And what Target is that now?
Yeah,
I am not telling.
Scott's the only one that I know that can walk into retail and pull figures.
I guess so, because
I mean,
I'm down here near the Temecula area, and we just had I did a bust in it, and then we saw the Mad Hatter's vehicle. I guess he's moved down to this area, and he had a bust at it. It was like, yeah, I know that one. It's the same one I go to. It sucks.
Yeah,
and it's like 4 or 5 in the Walmarts. Be damned if you can find G.I. Joe Classified, any of the Night Force Enios on any shelf and any Walmart in this surrounding area.
Yeah,
so you can find them in Georgia.
That's just the problem.
I will tell you who the bona fide loser is, and that's Marvel.
Yeah.
100%. And if you're looking for the hottest peg warmers, the Tony Stark and Spider-Man figures are readily available at every Target or Walmart. And you might find a couple like into the Spider-Verse, like an MJ floating around, but all the good stuff, forget about it, man. Your path to success is pre-order. Unfortunately, it's a rarity to find something like that. Yeah, GameStop. Yeah, that is for sure. No one's going in there, so
no. And their prices are actually, especially if you're a member, they're right there below regular retail now. They're very competitive now, and I find a lot of stuff at GameStop now. So.
Sure. All right. Well, like I said again, I know we've got prep our buddies for their next show, which is awesome. It comes on after us, Sarlacc Digest Podcast. If you're not watching them, you are not getting educated on Star Wars. I will tell you that. We're gonna do one quick one, just quick, so we can get our buddies out of here. But the last one is potential of the year. Let's just do this real quick so we can get the guys out. Let's start with our Star Wars brethren. Potential for the rest of the year. Who do you believe has the upside to it?
I still think Star Wars has something to prove this year with something. Maybe at Comic-Con at their panels are good. I know that they're gearing up for some announcements, and I'm hoping that it's some things that that the fandom has been asking for. Not just a rehash or a repaint or whatever. It's some new characters done. So again, it's always that hold out for hope. By the end of the year, they'll get some characters, and they have really this year has been kind of a dud. They've got a couple good ones, but nothing to really write home about. I mean, nothing like the other two lines really. I know that there's that Darth Maul speeder. That's gonna be huge because we all want that. I mean, any kind of small vehicle Star Wars is a hit. But for potential for the rest of this year, I'm going with Star Wars, not because I love it, it's because they haven't shown it yet this year. That's where I'm basing that.
Yeah. And I would go Star Wars as well, but not necessarily Black Series. I think that the Vintage Collection with the Cantina coming out, they've got their Return to Tatooine campaign that they're doing right now. So there's going to be, you're going to see a lot of, I think we're going to see a lot of Cantina denizens, Luke, Han, Chewie, Obi-Wan, figures like that. We're going to start seeing a lot more A New Hope figures coming out. So otherwise, if we're talking 6-inch, I'm still going to give it to G.I. Joe. I just think that G.I. Joe has been killing it.
Have more to come. Yeah.
I think they've just, I think they've got their finger on the pulse of what the fandom wants. And unlike
maybe a little too much. That's a little too
they
much.
need to slow the hell down because my
they do. Wow.
Just saying. Yeah.
Rad.
Yeah, you're saying potential, and so you have to have immense belief that the next couple months they're going to pop up new figures and stuff. But I think all the evidence is pointing towards Marvel. I mean, you think the things that are coming out over the next couple of months, you got the Carnage retro, you got the re-release of the Venom retro, and the hitting Walmarts. You got the Carnage that just hit the Venom movie line figures. You got Deadpool, Wolverine. You know what that's coming. Wait till the cameos hit, so they'll pop figures. They can't talk about them now because no one wants to spoil that Iron Man's in the film. But wait till you see all the things that come from that. I think Marvel's on a hot streak. I could list out 15 other figures. You mentioned Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider, that's hitting. There's so many good. The big new Hulkbuster, we haven't seen one since the Build-A-Figure days. They're on a hot streak. So I think potential wise, over the next couple of months, we already know what you can pre-order. Wait until the end of the year. once we know what's happening with Deadpool, Wolverine, and the expansion, and hopefully the savior of the MCU, I think it will be a clear-cut winner for the rest of the year for Marvel. So I'm going with Marvel.
Okay.
All right, Chet.
Yep.
Real quick, Chet.
Yeah, just quick take on it. I'm going Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I just, like everything Rad said, the movies that are coming out, the Deadpool, Wolverine, those two figures that already came out are really good figures as is. And then there's still a bunch of pre-orders that are hitting. And if Odin is any sign of what they're working on, then that's going to be a big lift for Legends as well.
And you all got your pre-order tickets for Craven coming out at the end of the year. I know it's a big movie for all of you.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for the new Craven movie line figures too.
Yeah.
And
from the makers of Madam Web.
And I'm going to give the most half-ass answer on this one. I think all three lines have the essential. I think, but like Hasbro has been Hasbro has been killing us this year. They have been throwing everything from Star Wars to I have never seen this many amount of figures come out, and the fever pitch on everyone is I think that the best is yet to come, and we haven't even seen again the HasLab for G.I. Joe yet. We haven't seen the Marvel Legends, but damn straight the stuff they're going to hit us at the end of the year. I think it's only going to ratchet up. I know they've been planning a bunch of things too. We're going to get some surprises. I didn't expect that Darth Maul at the San Diego Comic-Con either. So I think all three. I think Hasbro's really kind of pushing the pulse, and they're killing their competition this year.
Cool deal.
So, with that said,
was that a pun? Was that a pun? Hasbro really pushing the pulse.
Yeah.
Well, every now and then.
Come on.
We love to have open invite to have you guys back. We definitely got to do another round
anytime.
Table.
Yeah.
I know these gentlemen are again the most informative Star Wars show on YouTube. If you're not watching them, you're not learning a damn thing. And if you have a point of perspective on the acolytes that you believe one way, you watch that show with these fine gentlemen, you're going to get a different perspective. I guarantee.
Tonight's going to be interesting.
Going to an open mind, man.
Yeah.
So, any previews? What's going on tonight? Just
tonight.
Quick.
Acolyte. We've got controversial subjects going on all over, of course, since day one, but we'll break it down and we put it in its place. I don't think it's going to be negative, but it's going to be a lot more questions and a lot more theory crafting as we get into. We only got one more episode left as far as the Acolyte show, and we are a lot
to make up for.
We are neck deep into it, so we'll should be a good talk tonight. Yeah.
All right, well, gentlemen, we're going to have you back. I know that we've been hinting at a Friday San Diego Comic-Con, huge 2-hour kind of thing. So we've kind of been running it down. We're going to do some promotion on that, but expect to see more of it. Gentlemen, thank you guys for always popping in.
Thank you guys. This was fun.
Yeah, got to do it again, guys. Thank you so very much. We will definitely be watching tonight.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. You guys take it easy, brothers.
All right.
All right, man. Every now and then, it's always good to have our brethren in, and it's cool. They've got some great stuff that they're doing. But with that said, I know we were seeing it today. Rad sent it over to me. It was, he said, Meek said, I haven't watched the Acolyte yet. Well, you know what? There's another podcast after us. No clue you in about what you're missing, brother. So definitely tune into those guys. The image that was leaked, you sent it to me, Cobra Commander. I already know it's the Rattler, brother. I know on the 25th it's going to be that. If it's not going to be that, I'm going to be damn near disappointed. I can tell you that, because it's just, come on. It's even that little tease, bro. Yeah, that was enough to do it for me. I'm like, I'm buying it, man. Shit. Yeah, it's going to be.
Now, I hope one of the tiers is this figure.
I don't know. I know it's going to be Wild Weasel. Maybe they might do the Supreme Cobra Commander done differently like that, because remember, that character is extremely hard to find. It's kind of like the 0-0 version of Snake Eyes. It's just they're highly expensive. So I think they've got to give us that. I know Wild Weasel is going to be definitely the pilot of that. They're definitely going to have that. I would probably say maybe there's going to be some version of probably a Cobra officer or something signed to it, so I'm looking forward to that. But that image and tease right there, I said, okay, they're already pulling. I think it says, I think that thing says, I want your money. I don't think it's like I want you. I think I want your money.
It does say I want your money.
Mm-hmm.
Two things too. Also, we're also going to mention it up as well. We're going to have Ace from Ramen Toys on the 31st podcast. So if you're July 31st, if you're tuning in, we've actually just got confirmation that Ace is going to be a guest that night. The funny thing that I found out was that his armored vehicle, which Chet saw in person, actually, he saw that in person. And the next couple of weeks before the HasLab, he is going to actually be dropping his early bird for the armored vehicle. So I was not expecting that. I expected to have two potential, one Joe vehicle and one legit Joe vehicle, to be dropping at the same time. But now the dilemma is like, well, I got to get both of them. It's like, Ace hasn't failed us any point in this situation, but wow, man, I was not expecting that to hit back, and it's like back-to-back weeks, man.
Yep,
that's awesome.
It is, man.
It's gonna be good.
It's
you can already you can pre-order the Desert Hunter, by the way, for $180 on Ramen Toys.
I saw that, but the armored vehicle version is the one that I want.
Chet, did you order the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider with the bike? Did you pre-order that?
I thought that I thought
he did.
So I'm just curious, are you going to park the bike next to the car and Ghost Rider's just going to have
one's Robbie Reyes and the other
but I'm just saying you're going to park the vehicles and the two Ghost Riders going to be hanging out eating a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, the ramen racer is what Hasbro should have made.
Well, they tried to.
They tried to make it,
but
they didn't fund.
They didn't do it the way that it should have been done, though.
That's why.
Well, I think the expense was too much, man. I think they were going for home run hit out of the box, and I'm just sorry, Robbie Reyes is not as popular enough for that to work. Now, see, when you look at Ace, and again, one of the things that we just have to give credit to is that the ramen's price point. It was a no-brainer when you're like, well, wait a minute, it's the same kind of scenario, but yet it's modular. I can go 3 vehicles in one. And while Chet's actually done his as the Engine of Vengeance version, it will always be Blade's vehicle in the back, bro. Well, other Marvel Universe characters will touch their button.
Yeah, let's be clear though. Like if I can get a Blade character that I like from a Marvel Legends.
So you didn't like the last Blade figure?
Don't worry, you'll get one after he makes a cameo in the Deadpool Wolverine movie. So
damn right,
I'm telling you, be patient because a wave of figures are going to hit the shelves.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I think that I think they already have all the figures lined up to release, and they just got to wait for the movie to go, and then they're gonna be like, check out all these releases, and everyone's gonna be like, there goes my bank account.
Well, I'll be damn straight if Wesley Snipes is pumped, because the first Marvel Legends Wesley Snipes version is okay, but it's not enough to sit in there. I think the last wave that came with Molten, or I think it was Molten. That's the one with the trench coat. You can take the trench coat off.
Yeah,
that's the version that I'm waiting on to come from to go sit in the Blade 69 Charger. So
just wait. The Kevin Hart's going to play Blade in one of the multiverse, so you'll have a short little Blade.
Don't worry, I won't be buying that figure. Yeah, that's the one right there. Yeah, that's the last one. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's the one that will be donning the Charger in the back and everything. There'll be no hellfire coming from that. But
I just wish he had mouth where it was closed.
What was that now?
I just wish they had another head sculpt where the mouth was closed.
Yeah,
because otherwise he's just going to get dry mouth and it's not going to be good.
Yeah. Well, he's got to be. When you're riding around in that Charger and you're hearing that engine roar, your head sticking out the window, man. You're just going to have that kind of going and everything.
I will tell you this about that HasLab though. If it's a Rattler, I think it'll be the first Joe one that I back.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
because
a major milestone, brother. And Dr. Brentley has to poke its fun in this and everything.
Because this will be going in it.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. All right. Well, like I said again, and then let's see, Dr. Brentley, Scotty Young's blade. No, he would buy that, brother. You don't have to worry about that.
I don't know
But
if you've ever seen this figure before, but this is going to be going in it.
Yes, sir. I have seen the figure before. Mm-hmm.
So has to be probably the best G.I. Joe figure ever made.
Well, I will debate you on that one every day, but it is probably one of the best Cobra figures they've designed. Yes, but yeah, you know, I think about it. If they have a royal blue version of that comes with the Rattler, yeah, I'm telling you, brother, this is a heck of a month. There's a lot of releases. While I am optimistically happy that the Cantina did kind of fun because you don't want to see failures based on that. I do believe the one drawback is that from this point on, the Star Wars community has said we're going to willing to take like play sets, and I don't think they're going to try to produce vehicles. They're going to try to take a lesser option and do play sets for them. Now with G.I. Joe, they haven't been able to do that yet. They haven't been able to pull that out. So, and I'm sure at one point, like we were all talking, if they did Adventure Tower tomorrow, we'd be back in that. So, but I got a feeling that they're going to try to deadlock some of those play sets for our Star Wars Black Series and Star Wars Vintage Series compadres. So, you know, other than that, anybody else got anything for tonight?
I'm going to hop into the Star Wars podcast and learn some stuff about the Acolyte.
That's exactly what I was going to do too. And let's run down real quick. We're just going to run some channel stuff. First of all, one, we do have a sponsor on the Shadow Nose Network. Our sponsor is Entertainment Earth. They just had a major 4th of July. You saw our little theatrics with videos and everything that we put up for them. But they are one of the best online toy retailers if you're going after it. We've got a great code. Link is in the description. You get 10% off in-stock items. And if you purchase $79 or more, you get free delivery. Chances are you buy 3 figures, it's probably going to be that anyway. So you might as well get that discount. So we thank Entertainment Earth. And again, our link is in the description and all the actual podcasts. You can catch that through. Wednesday nights, we're always glad to have people pop in, and we're trying to get people to understand that we got the power hours of live streams. Got Fallen Fed at 6 p.m. You've got Toy Box Chronicles at 7. And then we're running, obviously, the Sarlacc Digest Podcast at 8 that we're getting ready to get off for them. Friday nights, if you don't know, the main flagship show of the Shadow Nose Network is Pixels Plastic Ink, where we talk about everything from toys to comics to films. We got a good one coming up. We got a Superman-centric one that actually Thumb will be posted tonight. So get the word out. Let people know that Friday nights, you got it at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And other than that, I've got nothing else, Mr. Maddox. If you've got anything, or gorgeous podcast member, Mr. Rad, anything else you want to throw in tonight, man?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite. I love talking toys, and looks like G.I. Joe took this battle. But you know what? Winning's only half the battle. So
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
No, nothing crazy. I'll leave you with one sentence.
Okay.
Soon to have Mondo.
Uh-oh.
So you know where my
I know where this is going.
Where my collection's going.
We know where this is going.
Yeah, no, Rad, I enjoyed having you on. Because I really only see you on Fridays. But hey, I made it to this one. As you so stated in the last podcast. All right, everyone. That's gonna do it for us. Go watch Sarlacc Digest.